Hare Krishna, my friends, and welcome. It's Friday night reading. It's our reading time in Bhaktiville of Srimad Bhagavatam. Tonight we have two friends here. Bhaktiville is here and Avinash is here. Did I get that right? Avinash, yes, is here. And Kandita is not, but we hope she's well and we'll see her soon. So in our last reading, last week, Narada Muni explained why Vyasadeva was disheartened and dissatisfied. So, Vyasadeva compiled all the Vedas, but yet he wasn't happy. So he had spent so much time, Narada Muni said, writing about these mundane topics without giving devotional service equal time. This was his dissatisfaction. So we can extrapolate from this and apply this lesson to ourselves. Are we giving more time and energy to our daily activities and neglecting our spiritual work? I think that's something we can learn from this. So tonight, Narada Muni continues his discussion with Vyasadeva on this topic. Tonight, we're on the First Canto, Chapter 5, Text 13. You'll find that on page 269 of the PDF or page 237 of the book. So let's see if we've got everything queued up here on the board. Nope, we're working on it. So we'll get the Om Namo Bhagavate stuff up there. And we'll get going with that. Do you want me to do it, Bhakti? Is your computer still acting weird with the slideshow? It's just slow. Okay. Okay. Okay, here we are. First page. All right. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. O my Lord, the all-pervading personality of Godhead, I offer my respectful obeisances unto you. Nashta prayeshvabhadreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya bhagavati uttama shloke bhaktir bhavati naistiki. By regular attendance in classes on the Bhagavatam and by rendering of service to the pure devotee, all that is troublesome to the heart is almost completely destroyed, and loving service unto the personality of Godhead, who is praised with transcendental songs, is established as an irrevocable fact. Shrinvatam svakata Krishna punya shravana kirtanaha hridyantasto yabhadrani vidhunoti suhrit satam. Sri Krishna, the personality of Godhead, who is the Paramatma Supersoul in everyone's heart and the benefactor of the truthful devotee, cleanses desire for material enjoyment from the heart of the devotee, who has developed the urge to hear his messages, which are in themselves virtuous when properly heard and chanted. Narayanam namaskritya naram chaiva narottamam devim sarasvatim vyasam tato jayam udirayet. Before reciting the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is the very means of conquest, one should offer respectful obeisances unto the personality of Godhead Narayana, unto Narayana Rishi, the supermost human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and unto Srila Vyasadeva, the author. So what are you saying here in chat? The last time your order did not match this board. Oh, because I have it on my screen, and I had opened it in reverse. I opened 4, 3, 2, 1 instead of 1, 2, 3, 4. So I apologize for that. It was backwards today? Oh, geez. I'm so sorry. Okay, that's something for me to work on, apparently. I will double check my stuff and the board. I apologize for that. Oh, gosh. What a goofus. It just shows, I'm just a goofus wherever I am. And my only real savior is to read directly and not do anything else. Bhaktiville says, don't make me laugh. Yeah, this is it for me. All right, text 13. I'm just going to read it. But we'll do word for word. Kandita's not here, so I'll just be the person reading it. Ato maha pagapavan amokadrik. Ato maha pagapavan amokadrik. Shuti Shrava Satyarato Dhrittavrataha Shuti Shrava Satyarato Dhrittavrataha. So the pause is there so that you can repeat it. Urukramasya Kila Bantha Muktaye Urukramasya Kila Bantha Muktaye Samadhina Nusmara Tadvicheshtitam Samadhina Nusmara Tadvicheshtitam. All right, the whole verse, and you can sing it along with me. Ato Mahabhaga Pavan Namogadrik Shuti Shrava Satyarato Dhrittavrataha Urukramasya Kila Bantha Muktaye Samadhina Nusmara Tadvichestitam. Word for word. Ato, therefore, Mahabhaga, highly fortunate. Pavan, yourself. Amokadrik, the perfect seer. Shuchi, spotless. Shravaha, famous. Satyarataha, having taken the vow of truthfulness. Dhrittavrataha, fixed in spiritual qualities. Urukramasya, of the one who performs supernatural activities. God. Akila, universal. Bantha, bondage. Muktaye, for liberation from. Samadhina, by trance. Anusmara, think repeatedly and then describe them. Tat vicheshtitam, various pastimes of the Lord. Translation. O Vyasadeva, your vision is completely perfect. Your good fame is spotless. You are firm in vow and situated in truthfulness, and thus you can think of the pastimes of the Lord in trance for the liberation of the people in general from all bondage. Purport. People in general have a taste for literatures by instinct. They want to hear and read from the authorities something about the unknown, but their taste is exploited by unfortunate literatures, which are full of subject matter for satisfaction of the material senses. Such literatures contain different kinds of mundane poems and philosophical speculations, more or less under the influence of Maya, ending in sense gratification. These literatures, although worthless in the true sense of the term, are variously decorated to attract the attention of the less intelligent men. Thus, the attracted living entities are more or less entangled in material bondage, without the hope of liberation for thousands and thousands of generations. Sri Narada Rishi, being the best amongst the Vaishnavas, is compassionate on such unfortunate victims of worthless literatures, And thus he advises Sri Vyasadeva to compose transcendental literature, which is not only attractive, but can also actually bring liberation from all kinds of bondage. Srila Vyasadeva, or his representatives, are qualified because they are rightly trained to see things in true perspective. Srila Vyasadeva and his representatives are pure in thought due to their spiritual enlightenment, fixed in their vows due to their devotional service, and determined to deliver the fallen souls rotting in the material activities. The fallen souls are very eager to receive novel informations every day, and the transcendentalists like Vyasadeva or Narada can supply such eager people in general with unlimited news from the spiritual world. I want that newspaper, right? In the Bhagavad Gita, it is said that the material world is only a part of the whole creation, and that this earth is only a fragment of the whole material world. Excuse me. There are thousands and thousands of literary men all over the world, and they have created many, many thousands of literary works for the information of the people in general for thousands and thousands of years. Unfortunately, none of them have brought peace and tranquility on the earth. This is due to a spiritual vacuum in those literatures. Therefore, the Vedic literatures, especially the Bhagavad Gita and the Srimad Bhagavatam, are specifically recommended to the suffering humanity to bring about the desired effect of liberation from the pangs of material civilization, which is eating the vital part of the human energy. The Bhagavad Gita is the spoken message of the Lord himself, recorded by Vyasadeva, and the Srimad Bhagavatam is the transcendental narration of the activities of the same Lord Krishna, which alone can satisfy the hankering desires of the living being for eternal peace and liberation from miseries. Srimad Bhagavatam is therefore meant for all the living beings all over the universe, for total liberation from all kinds of material bondage. Such transcendental narrations of the pastimes of the Lord can only be described by liberated souls like Vyasadeva and his bona fide representatives, who are completely merged in the transcendental loving service of the Lord. Only to such devotees do the pastimes of the Lord and their transcendental nature become automatically manifest by dint of devotional service. No one else can either know or describe the acts of the Lord, even if they speculate on the subject for many, many years. The descriptions of the Bhagavatam are so precise and so accurate that whatever has been predicted in this great literature about 5,000 years before is now exactly happening. Therefore, the vision of the author comprehends past, present, and future. Such liberated persons like Vyasadeva are not only perfect by the power of vision and wisdom, but also in oral reception, in thinking, feeling, and all other sense activities. A liberated person possesses perfect senses, and with perfect senses only can one serve the sense proprietor, Hrishikesha, Sri Krishna, the personality of Godhead. Srimad Bhagavatam is therefore the perfect description of the all-perfect personality of Godhead by the all-perfect personality, Srila Vyasadeva, the compiler of the Vedas. So just to reiterate, this is Narada Muni who's speaking to Vyasadeva, who's despondent. All right, text 14, word for word. Call and response. Tato nyata, kinchana yad vivakshataha. Tato nyata, kinchana yad vivakshataha. Pratag drishas tatkrita rupanama bihi. Pratag drishas tatkrita rupanama bihi. Nakar hichit kvapi cha dustita matir, na karhichit kvapi cha dustita matir, labetavata hatanaur ivaspadam, labetavata hatanaur ivaspadam. All right, the whole thing. Tato nyata kinchana yad vivakshataha pritagdrishastat kritarupa namabihi nakar hichit kvapi chatustita matir tabetavata hata naur ivaspadam. Word for word. Tataha, from that, anyata, apart, kinchana, something, yet, whatsoever, vivakshataha, desiring to describe, pritak, separately, drishaha, vision, tatkrita, reactionary to that, rupa, form, namabihi, by names, nakar hichit, never, kvapi, any, cha, and dustita matihi, oscillating mind, labeta, gains, excuse me, vatahata, troubled by the wind, now, boat, eva, like, aspadam, place. I'm going to have some water, just a second. Hopefully that helps. Nope, didn't help. Translation. Whatever you desire to describe, which is separate in vision from the Lord, simply reacts with different forms, names, and results to agitate the mind as the wind agitates a boat which has no resting place. It's an interesting image. Purport. Sri Vyasadeva is the editor of all descriptions of the Vedic literatures, and thus he has described transcendental realization in different ways, namely by fruitive activities, speculative knowledge, mystic power, and devotional service. Besides that, in his various Puranas, he has recommended the worship of so many demigods in different forms and names. The result is that people in general are puzzled how to fix up their minds in the service of the Lord. They are always disturbed to find out the real path of self-realization. Srila Narada Dev is stressing this particular defect in the Vedic literatures compiled by Vyasadeva, and thus he is trying to emphasize describing everything in relation with the Supreme Lord and no one else. In fact, there is nothing existent except the Lord. The Lord is manifested in different expansions. He is the root of the complete tree. He is the stomach of the complete body. As such, pouring water on the root is the right process to water the tree, as much as feeding the stomach supplies energy to all the parts of the body. Srila Vyasadeva should not have compiled any Puranas other than the Bhagavad Purana, because a slight deviation from that may create havoc for self-realization. So he means from the Puranas, not from Bhagavad Purana, but from the others. So if a slight deviation can create such havoc, then what to speak of deliberate expansion of the separatist idea from the absolute truth, personality of Godhead? The most effective part of worshiping demigods is that it creates a definite conception of pantheism, ending disastrously in many religious sects, detrimental to the progress of the principles of the Bhagavatam, which alone can give the accurate direction for self-realization in eternal relation with the personality of Godhead by devotional service and transcendental love. The example of the boat disturbed by whirling wind is suitable in this respect. The diverted mind of the pantheist can never reach to the perfection of self-realization due to the disturbed condition of the selection of object. So Bhaktiville asks, so there is only Krishna and we are part and parcel. That is correctamundo. There is only Krishna. Yep. When you're eating, when you're walking, when you're playing, when you're watching TV, it's only Krishna. All the Krishna of energy and all these different forms, it's all Krishna. So he alludes to this here, but that's it's all one thing. It is all one. It is all Krishna, but we are separate little individuals. We are part and parcel of that one. And everything else is all one. I'm looking at my table, my doll, my glasses, my cup, my water. It's all Krishna. It's all Krishna. Does that answer your question? It's all Krishna. I'm going to assume the answer is yes and move on. All right, text 15. Call and response. Jugup sitam dharmakrite nusha sataha. I'm much better at saying it than singing it. Jugup sitam dharmakrite nusha sataha. I think. Thank you. Svabhava Raktasya Mahan Vyatikramaha. Svabhava Raktasya Mahan Vyatikramaha. Yadvakyato Dharma Iti Tarastito. Yadvakyato Dharma Iti Tarastito. Namanyate tasya nivaranam janaha. Namanyate tasya nivaranam janaha. All right, the whole thing. Then sing it with me at home. Chukupsitam dharma krute nusha sataha. Svabhava raktasya mahan yati kramaha. Yad Vakyato dharma iti tarastito. Namanyate tasya nivaranam janaha. Word for word. Chukupsitam, verily condemned. Dharmakrite, for the matter of religion. Anusha sataha, instruction. Svabhava raktasya, naturally inclined. Mahan, great. Vyatikramaha, unreasonable. Yat vakyataha, under whose instruction. Vakyataha. Dharmaha, religion. Iti, it is thus. Itaraha, the people in general. Stitaha, fixed. Na, do not. Manyate, think. Tasya, of that. Nivaranam, prohibition. Janaha, they. People. Translation. The people in general are naturally inclined to enjoy, and you have encouraged them in that way in the name of religion. This is fairly condemned and is quite unreasonable. Because they are guided under your instructions, they will accept such activities in the name of religion and will hardly care for prohibitions. Purport. Srila Vyasadeva's compilation of different Vedic literatures on the basis of regulated performances of fruitive activities, as depicted in the Mahabharata and other literature, is condemned herewith by Srila Narada. The human beings, by long material association, life after life, have a natural inclination by practice to endeavor to lord it over material energy. They have no sense of the responsibility of human life. This human form of life is a chance to get out of the clutches of illusory matter. The Vedas are meant for going back to Godhead, going back home, to revolve in the cycle of transmigration in a series of lives numbering 8,400,000 is an imprisoned life for the condemned conditioned souls. The human form of life is a chance to get out of this imprisoned life, and as such, the only occupation of the human being is to reestablish his lost relationship with God, Sambandha. Under the circumstances, one should never be encouraged in making a plan for sense enjoyment in the name of religious functions. Such diversion of the human energy results in a misguided civilization. Srila Vyasadeva is the authority in Vedic explanations in the Mahabharata, etc., and his encouragement in sense enjoyment in some form or other is a great barrier for spiritual advancement, because the people in general will not agree to renounce material activities which hold them in material bondage. At a certain stage of human civilization, such material activities in the name of religion, as sacrificing animals in the name of yajna, were too much rampant. The Lord incarnated himself as Buddha and decried the authority of the Vedas to stop the animal sacrifice in the name of religion. This was foreseen by Narada, and therefore he condemned such literatures. The flesh-eaters still continue to perform animal sacrifice before some demigod or goddess in the name of religion, because in some of the Vedic literatures such regulated sacrifice is recommended. They are so recommended to discourage flesh eating, but gradually the purpose of such religious activities is forgotten, and the slaughterhouse becomes prominent. This is because foolish materialistic men do not care to listen to others who are actually in a position to explain the Vedic rites. Excuse me. Let me stop reading for a second. There are multiple questions here in the chat. So Bhaktiville asks, how is joy different from enjoy? So here he's making a clear distinction between the joy of your relationship with Krishna and that relationship in doing devotional service, in establishing and developing that relationship. That's joy. Enjoy, he's clearly saying that Narada Muni has set up all of these Vedic rituals so that people, quote unquote, can enjoy eating meat. But the rituals are such that you have to do so much. You have to renounce all kinds of things in order to actually do the ritual properly. And he's condemning them because no one can do them. It's impossible. So what people are doing instead is they're just doing the ritual imperfectly and like, oh, I did the ritual, so now I can eat this meat. So does that explain joy and enjoy? I'm going to hope your answer is Bhaktiville says, I just hate to demonize joy. Yeah, no, I don't think we need to demonize joy. You know, I look out the window and I see the trees are flowering because spring is coming, and that's joyful. The reason it's joyful is that Krishna is flower-bearing spring. So if you can follow these things back to their source, you'll see that all of the joy that we experience is because of Krishna. But because we don't see that, then we get caught up in the perpetual motion of looking for joy without seeing the source. So as long as it's in relation to Krishna, yes, that's the understanding. That's the joy. That you're recognizing Krishna, you know it's Krishna, you're developing that relationship with Krishna by knowing that. Ananda, bliss, joy, yes. We are Satchit Ananda. We are made of joy. We are made of joy. We are meant to be happy. And the dilemma is that by doing these things unrelated to Krishna, we are despondent. And that's the lesson in this section, is that Vyasadeva, who knows all of this stuff, who's a self-realized person, who can see far into the future and see all this stuff, is despondent. And why is he despondent? Because he's not been writing about Krishna. He's been doing all this other stuff. You do this, you do that, you do this, you do that. And Narada Muni, his spiritual master, is condemning that and saying, hey, this is why. Because you weren't giving equal time to Krishna. You gave some information about Krishna, but not enough. You didn't give equal time to Krishna in your descriptions here. So spend some time on that. And of course he does, but that's later in the story. All right, so you also wrote, I found this on the web, remarkably close. Quote, scientists estimate there are about 8.7 million species of life on Earth, end quote. There you go. 8,400,000. Yep, there it is. So yeah, lots. And we go through that. I can say, according to Bhagavatam, that we have been through all of those species. At this point in time, as a human being, you have gone through all of that. So here you are at the top of the pile. You're king of the hill. Don't mess up. Let's pay attention and use this life appropriately and create a relationship, develop that relationship with Krishna, Abhideya, do the things that are listed here, that nectar of devotion that the Goswamis have talked about. Do those things, develop that relationship by doing those things, prayojana, so that the goal there is, so Prabhupada says, go back home, back to Godhead. So there it is. All right. I'm going to go back to reading. In the Vedas, it is distinctly said that the perfection of life is never to be attained by voluminous work, or by accumulation of wealth, or even by increasing the number of population, but it is so attained only by renunciation. The materialistic men do not care to listen to such injunctions. According to them, the so-called renounced order of life is meant for those who are unable to earn their livelihood because of some corporeal defects, or for persons who have failed to achieve prosperity in family life. So let me just add into this. So attained only by renunciation, but the renunciation is so minimal. If you weigh it against what's attained, it's the renunciation is minimal. So the joy, the satisfaction, the calmness that you develop over time, the equal-headedness when in situations, all of that outweighs the renunciation. I mean, no meat, those things that we don't do. Far, what we get in return far outweighs it. So this paragraph is an important one to look at in a balanced way. All right, back to the text. In histories like the Mahabharata, of course, there are topics on transcendental subjects along with material topics. The Bhagavad Gita is there in the Mahabharata. The whole idea of the Mahabharata is culminated in the ultimate instructions of the Bhagavad Gita, that one should relinquish all other engagements and should engage oneself solely and fully in surrendering unto the lotus feet of Lord Shri Krishna. But men with materialistic tendencies are more attracted to politics, economics, and philanthropic activities mentioned in the Mahabharata than to the principal topic, namely the Bhagavad Gita. This compromising spirit of Vyasadeva is directly condemned by Narada, who advises him to directly proclaim that the prime necessity of human life is to realize one's eternal relationship with the Lord and thus surrender unto him without delay. The patient suffering from a particular type of malady is almost always inclined to accept eatables which are forbidden for him. The expert physician does not make any compromise with the patient by allowing him to take partially what he should not at all take. In the Bhagavad Gita, it is also said that a man attached to fruitive work should not be discouraged from his occupation, for gradually he may be elevated to the position of self-realization. This is sometimes applicable for those who are only dry empiric philosophers without spiritual realization. But those who are in the devotional line need not be also always so advised. Any questions about this? Dr. Manila says, this is going to sound awful, but the doctor on my 600-pound life reminds me of Prabhupada. He makes no compromises. Nope, he's giving it to us straight, You just got to do this. If you're serious, you got to do it this way. This is the way you do it. And Prabhupada has translated so many things into English for us that, there it is. This is what you have to do. And yet, we don't always do it. Just like following the instructions of the doctor. We don't always do it. And sorry, it got worse. Like, how'd that happen? How'd it get worse? Well, there it is. Someone's typing. I heard that typing. But I don't see anything. All right. Oh, here it is. Dr. Mimila says, and it reminds me of the 600-pound person. Oh my God, I can't even imagine being that. So there's a show called that? Jeepers creepers. All right, text 16. Call and response. This will be our last one. Vichakshano Syarhati Veditum Vipur Vichakshano Syarhati Veditam Vibur Anantaparasya Nivritita Sukham Anantaparasya Nivritita Sukham Pravarta Manasya Gunair Anatmanas Pravartamanasya Gunair Anatmanas Tato Bhavan Darshaya cheshtitam viboho tato bhavan darshaya cheshtitam viboho, and the whole thing. Vichakshano syarthati viditam vibur ananta parasya nivrittita sukham pravartamanasya gunair anatta manas tato bhavan darshaya cheshtitam viboho. A word for word. Vichakshanaha, very expert. Asya, of him. Arhati, deserves. Viditum, to understand. Vibhoho, of the Lord. Ananta parasya, of the unlimited. Nivrittitaha, retired from. Sukham, material happiness. That's that sukha dukkha. Pravartamanasya, those who are attached to. Gunai, by the material qualities. Anat manaha, devoid of knowledge and spiritual value. Tataha, therefore. Bhavan, your goodness. Darshaya, show the ways. Cheshtitam, activities. Vibhoho, of the Lord. Translation. The Supreme Lord is unlimited. Only a very expert personality, retired from the activities of material happiness, deserves to understand this knowledge of spiritual values. Therefore, those who are not so well situated due to material attachment should be shown the ways of transcendental realization by your goodness through descriptions of the transcendental activities of the Supreme Lord. So he's speaking, Narada is speaking directly to Vyasadeva. Purport. Theological science is a difficult subject, especially when it deals with the transcendental nature of God. It is not a subject matter to be understood by persons who are too much attached to material activities. Only the very expert, who have almost retired from material activities by the culture of spiritual knowledge, can be admitted to the study of this great science. In the Bhagavad Gita, it is clearly stated that out of many hundreds and thousands of men or women, only one person deserves to enter into transcendental realization. And out of many thousands of such transcendentally realized persons, only a few can understand the theological science specifically dealing with God as a person. Sri Vyasadeva is therefore advised by Narada to describe the science of God directly by relating his transcendental activities. Vyasadeva is himself a personality expert in this science, and he is unattached to material enjoyment. Therefore, he is the right person to describe it, and Shukadeva Goswami, the son of Vyasadeva, is the right person to receive it. Srimad Bhagavatam is the topmost theological science, and therefore it can react on the layman as medicinal doses. Because it contains the transcendental activities of the Lord, there is no difference between the Lord and the literature. The literature is the factual, literary incarnation of the Lord. So the layman can hear the narration of the activities of the Lord. Therefore, they are able to associate with the Lord and thus gradually become purified from material diseases. The expert devotees also can discover novel ways and means to convert the non-devotees in terms of particular time and circumstance. Devotional service is dynamic activity, and the expert devotees can find out competent means to inject it into the dull brains of the materialistic population. Such transcendental activities of the devotees for the service of the Lord can bring a new order of life to the foolish society of materialistic men. Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his subsequent followers exhibited expert dexterity in this connection. By following the same method, one can bring the materialistic men of this age of quarrel into order for peaceful life and transcendental realization. Bhaktiville has a question. How does this verse compare to Lord Krishna's mission to give love of God freely? Does that mean we can have love of God without the study of transcendental knowledge? I mean, Lord Chaitanya. Yes, Lord Chaitanya. He says, Bhaktiville says, he means Lord Chaitanya. Yes, we can. We can have love of God without the study of transcendental knowledge. If you're chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, 24/7. Yes. And the thing is that chanting without study, that kind of transcendental knowledge will be given to you. It'll just be given to you. And a lot of times, I know for myself, I don't understand something that I'm reading, and that if while I'm chanting, or during the day while I'm chanting, that understanding will come to me directly. So Krishna is always hovering, always hovering. He's always protecting. He's always listening to us and delivers that information to us so that we can understand him. That's one of the verses in Bhagavad Gita. I give you the knowledge to understand. So Bhaktiville says, so in a way, reading this literature just tells us what is happening to us. Yes, it tells us what's happening to us. Absolutely. But it's also that knowledge. It is that knowledge. Literary incarnation of Krishna. I hope that's clear. Yes? See, claro? All right, my friends. Thank you so much for letting me read. Very good. He says, yes, very helpful. All right, my friends. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Without him, we'd have no clue. We would be clueless. So all glories to Srila Prabhupada.